I lost 180 pounds going whole food, plant-based. So today I'm going to show you 3 of my go-to meals that I ate regularly to achieve that. Greetings and welcome to or welcome back to PB with Jay. Here on the channel we focus on all things plant-based goodness, and today specifically we're going to focus on 3 meals that I had in my regular rotation when I was losing the bulk of my weight loss. I have got a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner. I'm going to put all of those recipes up on the screen, but if you're looking for more recipes, consider picking up our cookbook, either at the QR code on the screen here, that'll get you the ebook, or if you want a hard copy, you can email me at the address on the screen and I'll give you instructions on how to do that as well. All right, let's get to the recipes. I have showed my granola recipe a lot on this channel, and I still eat that to this day, but if you're looking to reduce a little bit of fat from your diet, and a little bit of the additional sugars, not that they're not healthy sugars because we use dates in that, this might be another alternative for you to consider within your diet. And this is muesli. So this is going to be rolled oats, which are going to be satiating and filling and delicious. This does have some nuts in it. It has some dried fruit. You can omit the dried fruit if you'd like to, but it's muesli. It's really delicious inside of that. This is really simple. It's the kind of thing you can make in as large of a bulk as you want, and it'll store beautifully in a sealed container for weeks at a time. I'm just making a small batch here, so if you're looking at the amount that I'm putting into my bowl, that it doesn't necessarily correlate with what's on the screen, that's why. What I love about this is just how simple it is and how easily customizable it is. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take some oats, and then you're going to sprinkle them with whatever spices that you want. I'm just using straight up cinnamon right now, but if you like pumpkin spice, if you want to throw a little cocoa on there, that's fine too. Just use like a teaspoon is probably more than enough, but if you want more, use more. So we're going to mix the oats and the spices together, and we're going to put those onto one baking sheet. And then we're going to take our nuts, we're going to cut them up a little bit. Whatever nuts you want, do a mix, do a variety. This is the amount of nuts you should have, but you don't have to just use one source. In fact, I recommend using multiple sources. I'm going to cut that up, chop that up, and we're going to put those on a separate baking sheet. And we're gonna bake both of those together at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 to 12 minutes. Just keep an eye on it to make sure your nuts don't start burning. After that first amount of time, we're gonna take both pans out. The nuts are done, set them aside. You're gonna mix your oats around a little bit, and then you're gonna add, if you wanna use it, you can omit this if you don't, a little bit of coconut. Because what it's gonna do is it's gonna toast that coconut and it's gonna make it delicious and beautiful. If you don't like putting coconut in your diet, you don't have to use it. Just put the oats back in, let them toast a little bit longer. Just another 5 to 8 minutes. But again, keep an eye on it. Make sure your coconut's not burning. And then once those are out, this is where you're gonna add in your dried fruit. If you're using it, use whatever you want. Dried cranberries, raisins. If you wanna cut up some dried figs, cut up some dates, you do you. And basically, this is it. This is the muesli. You're gonna put a half a cup of this on top of some fruit in the morning. If you wanna put some yogurt with it, that's great. The traditional way to have muesli, I think, is just using orange juice, but you could use milk. Eat it however you want. I've also even just put like a half a cup of this and put it in my Instant Pot and cooked it with like water and some plant milk and made like an oatmeal with it after the fact. If you want like a warm version of oatmeal. Or you can put warm water on it to warm it up and use it like a porridge as well. You do you. You can eat it dry, you can eat it cooked. However you want to eat it, you can eat your muesli. So this is a perfect alternative to my granola, which has just a little less fat, a little less sugar, still delicious, and will help support you in your weight loss goals. All right, in the next recipe, I'm gonna show you something that I ate a lot for lunch. So the next meal that I wanted to show you that I ate on quite a regular basis, usually for lunch, I'd make like a lunch salad with these air fried falafels. Apologies, the dishwasher is raging in the background, but you know, life's got a life. Okay, So I like to make these in the air fryer, but you can make them in the oven. In the air fryer, I'm going to use them at like 370 degrees Fahrenheit. In the oven, like 375. So these are pretty simple. The biggest trick to this is to soak the chickpeas overnight. We're not actually going to cook them. You're just going to have soaked chickpeas, and we're going to blend those up. And that's the trick to making like an awesome falafel, if you didn't already know that. One little note, you're going to notice that the food processor is a little dirty. That's because I just made hummus in it, and I was going to add a little bit of hummus to this anyway, so I'm just not going to clean it out. So that's a good little hack too. Make hummus first and then put this in right away. So basically everything is going into the food processor, and we're going to pulse until it's combined. I like to use wet hands. Now you can either make like 6 giant balls, or I like to make littler ones. I'm gonna use like our little cookie scoop thingamabobber. And then I'm gonna cook them for like 10 minutes and then check them and see if they need a few minutes longer. You just want them to be golden. Ideally, I would stuff this with some homemade hummus, which I just made some greens if you got any, some mustard, cucumbers, you want to throw some pickles in there, you do you. But what I would usually do is actually just make a salad using whatever kind of salad I wanted to make and a simple dressing, and I would put that on top of that. So you could do the same with these falafels, and if you want to make a giant batch, they freeze really well too. So let me know in the comments down below how you might use these falafels. Obviously, eating properly was a huge part of my weight loss, but the other part of the equation was just getting up and moving every single day. And for most of us, no matter what fitness level we're at, the easiest thing we can do is just go for a walk and get in our steps. And when I'm going for a walk, my footwear of choice has been, for a long time, Fitville. Fitville has been lovely enough to supply our family with footwear for a few years now, and I'm gonna take you over to Wooly, who's gonna let you know how much she loves it.
So I'm really excited because I just got some new shoes in the mail, and I'm most excited because I actually ordered the same shoe that I had before from Fitville, because I've been wearing every day for the last year and a half or more since we went to Disney World in March 2024, and they're so comfortable. So I ordered another pair in a different color. It's my new shoe. This one has laces. The old one is a slip-on. If you want Fitville shoes too, you can use the discount codes in the comments below to get your own pair at a discounted price.
Thank you again to Fitville for sponsoring this video, and they'd like to hook you up with a discount too. So you can use the codes in the link down below. The first 30 people get 30% off, and everyone else after that gets 25% off. Thanks again, Fitville. And now, back to the recipes. I'm right in the middle of making one of my family's favorites, lentil bolognese. And we're gonna serve that on spaghetti squash. We like to call those like a spaghetti squash bolognese. So the first thing you have to do, because this does take a little bit of advanced work, is you want to take a really sharp knife and chop that spaghetti squash right down the middle. And you're going to scoop out all the stuff inside. You don't want to eat that stuff with the seeds and the gunk and whatnot. I've never tried to roast spaghetti squash seeds the way I do with pumpkin seeds. So let me know in the comments down below if you have, and that's something that other people should try. And then you're just going to preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to flip those things over on the cut side and poke a couple holes in them. And then this is where other people might put a little bit of oil on, some salt and pepper. I'm just going to do them as the Lord intended, in their natural state. And we're going to cook them for like 30 to 40 minutes, depending on the size of your squash and how your oven cooks them. While that's going, we're gonna rinse off a cup of brown or green lentils, either works. Not red, they're gonna get too mushy for this. Now here's where it changes. If you're gonna do it in the Instant Pot, you need 2 cups of water. That's the ratio for Instant Pot. It's 1 to 2. So we're gonna put that inside there and we're gonna cook that for 3 minutes in the Instant Pot. If you're doing it on the stovetop, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's been a while since I've cooked lentils on the stovetop because I just use the Instant Pot for everything. I would say you're gonna need probably at least 20 minutes. Just keep an eye on it until the water's evaporated. If you're losing too much water, add some more. You know, I'm not a lentil on the stove expert at this point in my life. You can Google it. Actually, you know, here's the information right here. I Googled it for you. You're welcome. So while all those things are cooking, we're gonna start getting the rest of our Bolognese ready to go. You can really play fast and loose with the vegetables you're using inside of this. I'm getting an onion going inside of here first. Normally I would put some garlic cloves in here, but I know that Ephraim can get a little sensitive to too much garlic. I'm gonna put some garlic powder in here, so that'll be enough. And so I'm just using up vegetables I had in the fridge. So tonight I've got some mushrooms, I've got some pepper, and I've got some celery. Carrots go really well in this. You could also throw in some zucchini. You know, pick your favorite vegetable. If you got it in the fridge, it'll probably go in here just fine. Cut it up nice and small and bite size. And you're just gonna cook your vegetables until they're nice and soft. And then we're gonna add in our spices here, which is some onion powder, garlic powder, and some nutritional yeast, and a little bit of salt if you want to put some salt in your cooking. If you avoid salt, that's fine too. So by this point, your spaghetti squash should be done. So take it out. It's gonna be really, really hot. So take a fork to flip it over. You're gonna see that steam come out. Flip it over and let it get cooled. And then what we're gonna do is once it's cooled to touch, we're gonna take a fork and just rip through it. It's gonna create strands just like spaghetti. You can put that in a bowl, but one of the fun things we like to do is actually just use the shell of the squash as a bowl for this meal. So we're gonna be doing that. So once your vegetables are nice and softened and that spice has been doing its thing for a minute or two, this is where you're gonna add in your lentils as well as some tomato sauce. Now, if you wanna avoid a jarred tomato sauce, you could just use a can of crushed tomatoes as well. You might wanna cook it down. It might be a little too liquidy though, so keep that in mind. Check the label on your tomato sauce and make sure it's not full of oil and like 8 different kinds of sugar. Cook that until the sauce is basically heated up. And then the next thing you're gonna do is just top that on top of your spaghetti squash. And you could be done at this point if you want. If you have any non-dairy cheese, like our recipe from our cookbook, you could use that. And if you're gonna add the cheese on top, I don't have any tonight, but what I would just do is put your oven on broil and then put it underneath that just long enough to get a little color on that cheese. But the cheese is optional. You could also just put a little additional nutritional yeast on top. So that's that. That's our spaghetti squash bolognese, one of our family favorites and something we don't make often enough. I hope you enjoyed these recipes. If you would like another video like this talking about the food that I ate while I was losing weight, let me know in the comments down below. Before I sign off, I'd just like to give a quick hello to some of you who said hello to us in the comments down below. Al Hood from Wilmington, North Carolina. Soul Val Life from Long Beach, Washington. Tara in Central California. Claire in Cornwall in the United Kingdom. Sylvia from Washington State. This is not really a word. Your handle on YouTube is KMBJBB from Southeast Florida. Daniel and Tracy from Grant, Valcaria, Florida. Lisa from Nanaimo, Vancouver Island. Sue from Glasgow, Kentucky. Jane from Sacramento, California. And Jolene from, you didn't actually say where you're from, but I know where you're from on the internet, and that is our Mighty Network, which is a group of like-minded individuals who don't yuck each other's yum. We share recipes, we share thoughts, ideas, opinions, and most important of which, we're just there for each other as a plant-based community. And if you want to join us over there, you can do so for the price of a crappy cup of coffee a month. Thanks again for sticking around if you've gotten to this point of the video. Obviously, hit that like button to let YouTube know to share this with other people, and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And if you got a little extra time, YouTube's got a little extra video, and it's right here. Give it a clickaroo, clickapoo, clicky doodle.